Welcome to another episode of Origins, a Creative Journey. We are pleased to have Adam Griffin here on the show. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you for having me, Job. This is awesome. I'm excited.
Excellent. We are too. We can't wait to get into it. Tell us a little bit more about how your creative journey got started. Could you please share with us your origin story?
Yeah, so there's the origin of like the creation itself and the origin of the creator. So for the creation, we have a breakup in college, which is where that kind of took off. But for the creator, we've got Peter Pan. I'm 1 year old. I see Peter Pan for the first time. I don't understand most of it. It's just washing over me, but it's the best thing that's ever washed over me. We got crocodiles, we got adventure, we got jungles, we got green everything. And that was kind of it for the rest of my life. It's like, okay, green, tropical, crocodiles, let's go. And like green, I mean, I'm wearing a green jacket right now. Everything is green. And from there, crocodiles, that kind of like led naturally into like dinosaurs and things. Jurassic Park came out when I was 5. I saw my first Godzilla movie at 6, and that's been it for like 30 years, dinosaurs and Godzilla. And those were my big interests. So a lot of the creative things I did involved those things, like drawing, sculpting, little short stories. So I did a lot of little creative things, but I didn't go like really far with those. Just a lot of little fun things, stop motion animations, acting, collecting a ton of toys for sure. Huge collection of stuff, just kind of amassing those things. But I would bring that creativity into different like assignments and things. If we're like, okay, we are supposed to write a persuasive essay and stand in front of the class and read the essay. I didn't want to just stand there and read it. I wanted to bring the theater into it. So I'd set up 2 podiums and go back and forth as 2 different characters arguing the point. Just something a little bit different to make it a little more me, which I'm not sure if every teacher liked that, but that's what I would do. I remember there was one in 7th grade, supposed to like pick an animal and like write about its biome and make a whole poster and everything. And I said, cool, I'm going to do the Loch Ness Monster. And she said, if you can answer every single question like on the rubric with that, I'll allow it. And that was really cool that like I got support with my creativity there. But like that, I remember that from middle school. So that awesome teacher there. But for me, a lot of that was kind of more doing what I wanted to do, despite what the assignment really was. So like in Scouts, we had the Pinewood Derby races. You build a little wooden car, and the goal is really to like, work with your hands with wood and make a thing. But it was really like who got the fastest car. I didn't care about speed at all. I'm just like, I'm going to build a little cityscape. We're going to put Godzilla fighting Mecha Godzilla. That car was not going to win anything. I think it was honestly just the stock car. We just painted it green and stuck buildings on it. But then I did one, it was designed to look like Lego bricks. Just like the whole thing was built out of Legos, but it was still just the wood, just painted. But like when you have a stair step design, that's not the most aerodynamic thing, but it was cool. I liked it, and I liked looking at it on the shelf. And I remember I won most creative like every year. I'm doing air quotes, not to like diminish the creativity, but there was a little asterisk of that, like, this is not what we were looking for, but A for effort kind of thing. But I'm like, you know what? I'll take it because that's what I wanted to do. Because it's kind of make that a little more unique. Not that like I wanted to stand out and really be noticed. It was more just I didn't want to just do the same thing that everyone else is doing. And if there's so much of the same thing, I want mine to be worth reading, worth listening to, worth looking at, which may come from some of my sense of self-worth, I guess. But like, why does my voice matter here? Why is what I'm doing matter? I want to make this worthwhile for someone else. But there was, I mean, a lot of the creative things I did. I had friends and family who really supported that. And they're like, go further with it, go bigger, see if you can make money off of this, be successful with it, whatever their definitions of success was. And I did for some things like, okay, well, I'm sculpting these little creatures. And then I started selling them in middle school. I had little order forms I'd pass out in classes and these little penguin things. Okay, like I'm writing short stories. Let's do National Novel Writing Month, which I did a few times. It was really fun. Okay, like you're getting into acting. What if you start like writing murder mystery dinner theater and then directing them? So I did go a little bit further with some of those things, but like as far as I wanted. And I think I was listening to one of the episodes and someone was talking about like people being able to tell when you're doing something because that's what you want to do, that's what you want to create, versus you feel like I have to do this. or like I need this for money or something. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it feels different to me when I'm doing something just because I feel like I have to versus something I want to. So then we get to college. Meanwhile, I'm still buying toys this entire time. So we get to college. I'm 21, and now we can drink legally. And at first, I did not like it. Like beer was disgusting. Everything else tasted like hand sanitizer. I'm like, why are you doing this to yourselves? And I found like some flavors. I'm like, okay, peach schnapps. I like this very low alcohol kind of stuff, but flavors that like I really enjoy. And it's like, okay, well, I'll put this with ginger ale. There we go. That's fine. But then the more I was like in the liquor stores, I started noticing the weird stuff. Like, I don't know if you've heard of Goldschlager or ever had it. It's a cinnamon schnapps with like gold flecks floating around in the bottle. And I'm like, it's so ridiculous. I need this. And cinnamon is not like a universal flavor. Like you can put vodka in anything, but cinnamon doesn't really work for so many things. But I'm like, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna do it. I would just make weird stuff. Like let's put peppermint schnapps in ramonade. It's not the worst thing. It's not like the best thing either. But my roommates know like, oh, he's in there mixing bubblegum soda with something. So it was a lot of that weird kind of stuff. But one night I discovered that the girl I was dating at the time had cheated on me. So of course I let my friend know, and he says, I'm coming over and we're gonna drink. And I said, yeah, let's do that. So he comes over. Turns out the only alcohol I had was Goldschlager. So we're like, okay, well, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna make something. And so it was orange juice. It was a high pulp orange juice, which is already like texture wise, we're off to a terrible start here. So we're like, okay, orange and cinnamon, like, okay, this can kind of work, but it needed something else. So it's called Tiki Punch. It's like a carbonated Hawaiian punch from the Dollar Tree. So we poured that in there. And because the orange juice is so opaque, we didn't see it until like it hit the bottom and swirled around. And it was in that swirling that was so sudden with the texture of the pulp from the orange juice, it looked like lava. And it was like the coolest thing we had seen at that point. And we're like, oh, so we called it the Orange Volcano. That's become like a tradition. Like every like 5 years, we're like, okay, it's time for a batch of these. It's not the best thing, but it's fun. And that was the first like recipe I really wrote down. That was the first time we named a drink. I'm like, okay, I'm going to remember what's in this kind of thing. And that's where that really took off. And that night became less about like, let's drink and drown out our sorrows, and more of the act of creating something new that we had never really done before. It's like, oh, we don't need to follow these recipes in this book, and we can do all these other things and take that and run with it and really think about the visual. Because up to that point, it's all been about flavor. But now I'm like, what about the look of the drink? Beyond just adding a garnish to it. So then I started making really weird recipes for like, okay, well, what if we come up with a drink for each of these characters from this TV show? What would they be like? And sometimes it's like something disgusting we would never do, but it's fun to like write down like, oh, let's do this. And then like, okay, how would we match the colors for this green thing? What's green that we can stick in there? What's naturally, what's maybe let's food coloring or something. But one thing I was really proud of is Jurassic Park insects and amber jello shots. I'm not the first person to make like amber jello shots, but I found that like the orange jello is too orange, the yellow jello is too yellow. You need a little mix of both. And then I want to take that a step further. Like, okay, I really want bugs in there. So I found these edible bugs. They're called like larvettes. They're like baked things, but like you break them in half. It's just a little bit. You stick it in the middle of the jello shot. You're not even gonna like taste it, but you hold it up to the light and you can see like the bug inside. And then I'm like, okay, one step further. In Jurassic Park, we meet John Hammond. He's popping a bottle of champagne. So let's mix champagne in there. So now it's like slightly bubbly. You've got the champagne, you've got the bug. I'm really proud of that one. So it's just weird things like that. That's like perfect for like, okay, if you're having a themed party, you're watching this movie, here's the drinks we're going to break out. I want to say for the record, I'm happily married now. I'm really glad that that breakup happened. And my wife has been super supportive of this journey. I'm like, I've taken over the dining room, and she's like put aside her desire for like an organized space to allow me to like enjoy my creativity, but more of like bright tropical fruit flavored kind of stuff. And she's like, give me like a smoked whiskey with a little bit of rosemary kind of stuff. So we did at our wedding, we did like his and hers cocktails. So hers was like a rosemary lemon bourbon something, and mine was like bright teal. And for some reason hers was more popular. But like it was fun. It really matched our personalities, and it was fun like creating drinks that like represented us. So that's the drinking part. Then a few years back, one of my friends said, "Hey, my kid loves watching toy reviews on YouTube. You should do toy reviews. There's tons of people out there doing them. They're super popular. We can watch them for hours." And I thought, yes, I do have a ton of toys. I do have a ton of knowledge about those toys. I could do that. I could speak for hours on end about, put a figure in front of me. I'll just go. But again, there are so many people out there already doing that. Not that it needs to be a competition, but if I'm going to spend the time to do that, get that up there, you want it to take off. You want it to be successful. You want to start making money from that thing. And I'm like, I don't know what else. I want to make mine worth watching, like I do with my other stuff. I want to put my unique twist on it. That's not just another toy reviewer out there. So I kept putting that off for a couple of years until it like, duh, I'll mix it with the drinks. Like I can bring in the Jello shots, put that with a Jurassic Park figure. And that's when I started designing more of those things and to match the toys. And then it became painting with booze. So I'm like, how do I get this exact color blue? How do I get this, like, okay, it's a translucent figure. How do I get that exact level of light shining through the drink to match? And that became a really fun challenge. I just gravitated towards that. And then that expanded, like, okay, beyond just the color, what flavors work for this character? And then I started doing research of like, okay, well, this scene happens okay, we got persimmons in this region. Let's bring in that flavor. And then that really just took off. So I started that about 3 years. No, this is the start of year 4. It's been like 3 full years of every Thursday, a drink recipe and a toy review that matches in some way, either by color or by like theme that I've been doing. It's been really fun just coming up. I have so many ideas. They're not stop. I was afraid in the beginning. Like I'm 6 months in, I'm like, this is going to be maybe a 1 year project. I'm going to have to push myself. But no, like I would see a new figure. I'm like, oh, what if I did this? Or a new ingredient, and ideas are just coming. And might not be the best ideas, but they're ideas. That's creation, right? Just getting ideas, sticking things together, seeing what happens. That's the origin of the Thirsty Thursday toys, which is not my favorite. I regret the name. It's like you have the TTT, but it's t. So like Thirsty Thursday things, maybe. But I was gonna do kaiju cocktails, but I'm like, it's more than just kaiju. It's, you got Jurassic things. Yeah. I figure that way it can go anywhere. Any kind of toy, Thirsty Thursday, drinks and toys. That's where I'm at right
I've never giggled so much in an origin story to this point. That that was fabulous.
now. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Just proving more and more when we met, like we hit it off. Like you're my kind of people.
I was like, kaiju names on bottles?
Yeah. Okay, so everybody listening, we were at Designer Con, and I was standing in front of my booth, next to Rick's booth, and Adam, just this guy, it was Adam, runs up and he goes, "Kaiju names on liquor bottles," and I'm like, "You can read this?" He's like, "Yeah." He says, "Here's King Kong escapes and blah blah blah," and that was it. And it was perfect segue because you're Thursday,
Right? Well, yeah, and my friend Chaz was there, and he's like, "Well, this is perfect because of what he does with
dude.
the
He started
drinks
walking away.
toys."
He's like, "Leave you two alone. You two are just gonna be
Yeah.
good to go." But I want to rewind the beginning of the story because the part I find the most interesting is when you're starting out and you're doing all this creativity and you have teachers, even the middle school ones and everything else. I'm jealous. Let's just throw that out there. I'm jealous. I still remember in 3rd grade, we had free time and I copied a Tex Avery drawing that I saw on TV the day before, and my teacher got mad at me. "Why are you wasting your time drawing?" Okay.
There are a lot of teachers out there like that. It was on the back of a math test. I failed
Yeah.
the test, but I flipped it over. I'm like, I don't know this. I'm going to start drawing. It was the best person I'd ever drawn in my life. And my teacher wrote over the drawing, "No drawings like this." And that like breaks a kid. But
Yeah.
I've had another, like, it was after school thing. This motivational speaker came in. I showed him my drawings, and He's like, well, you're gonna have to do a lot of work if you want to be successful at that. But another kid's like, I like football. He's like, yes, then you're gonna play for the NFL. And so I'm a teacher. So I make sure that like when I see that kind of stuff in students that I encourage that for sure.
Well, thank you for being one of the good teachers out there, Adam. I think it really is important to bring in how much society sort of slants away from artistry and creativity, which is really ironic because like, the whole like, oh, like you're going to play for the NFL and you're like the odds of that are actually much more against you than it is for you to be a artist who makes money and can do this full time. We could go into the math, but we won't. And so it's awesome to hear that you're helping foster that creativity or just foster that kind of personal interest in all of your students, kind of regardless of if it, football or monster drawings or whatever. But something else that I wanted to pick up from your origin story is you mentioned green everything, and you have the green jacket. I see some green figures behind you. I see the Midori. I also have a strong affinity to certain colors, and I'd love to just hear more from you about like when did you know that like green was your thing?
It was right after Peter Pan. I was just anything that was green gravitated to it. It didn't matter what it was. Like if we're at a friend's house and they like have plates set out, there's a green plate, that's where I'm sitting. Doesn't matter if they told me to sit here, I need the green plate because green. There was no like rhyme or reason. It's just that's where I go. It's green, that's where I am.
That's so awesome. I mean, I'm that way with teal or like a blue green. Pretty much anything in the blue green spectrum, from seafoam to the dark teal. That's it. Phone is teal. My sheets are teal. My curtains are teal. And it's just like, I don't know what it is either. It's just like this intense draw towards the color. And I just haven't ever met anyone else who had that strong of a reaction towards a certain color that I did. And so that was really cool. And so thanks
Yeah,
for sharing.
it's that pull. It's like I don't know if is this calming for me? Is this exciting for me? But that's what like I have a logo for their channel. It's from yellow to blue. It's anything in between there, the teals, the limes. If it's a green, it works. It makes me happy.
Green's a good thing, baby.
Yeah.
I also love it. We're talking about just being creative and being in the moment and just trying to be creative. And the point of it's just to try different things and be creative and find where you fit creative. And you were interested, Adam. Oh, I played with this and dinner theater, maybe this. Is there anything along the way that you went, okay, I dabbled in this? No, I dabbled in this. Yeah. Or is it just like random spaghetti on a wall?
It was spaghetti. It was, I would see something I'd watch like, Will Vinton stop motion shorts. And I'm like, I'm going to try that. I didn't use clay. I used like my action figures. So it's a lot of like these stiff-legged characters just walking across a thing. I tried it out and did that for a while. It was fun, but it was also like, okay, well, this is a little tedious. I don't have the attention span.
Yeah, that's
to...
what I was curious. Like,
yeah.
Harryhausen's my idol. If you go back to yes. Again, you and I are way too alike. If you read his bio, right, he went and saw King Kong. He's fascinated with King Kong. He's reading how they do King Kong, and it's all wrong. Like everything he's read about how they make King Kong is all wrong. So he keeps trying and failing, and he's playing in his garage with his dad makes all the monsters. I don't know if you know that. All the animatronics were all made by his dad because his dad was machinist.
Okay.
So, it helped him. Again, another creative, but he just latches onto it, and anything else that would come along, he would doodle. Like he can draw. Harryhausen can draw, but he's like, nah. So I think that's you, Adam. Like a lot of this, is it just like, it's not a lack of ability, it just loses your interest?
It's there could be like a little bit of the ADHD, like I'll do this and then
I
I'll
have no idea what that
hyperfixate
is.
for a while. And then like, okay, well, I'll set that aside. I have so many projects that I've started, like half-built model kits, half-painted figures. I mean, something like right over here, I started painting a little Godzilla. Couldn't figure out the eyes. I'm like, I'll figure it out later. And it's gonna be months before I like remember that I have it kind of thing.
So what do you think it is about drinks though that makes you that's become the thing?
I think the science aspect is one thing that's drawn me to it. Like when making layered drinks, you really need to like work out the density and like, okay, well, if I want a really fine layer versus like a nice fade, how can I make this happen? There's more of a challenge and it's more fun for me to figure out how to do that. And I can keep adding things and changing things. Whereas with some other projects, if I cut a piece of a model kit wrong, that's it. But if I'm like mixing colors with paints, okay, a little more of this, a little more of that, I can keep just messing with it until I get it right instead of having to completely start over. I can kind of do that with some drinks as well. And figuring out that side, like, okay, well, how do these flavors mesh? I was doing one, I'm like, oh, goji berries. Like, duh, Godzilla, goji. So I got these like dried goji. I'm like, I'm gonna make this infusion. It's gonna be it was disgusting. It was awful. It was like raisins, but like really bad. And I tossed the whole thing out. But it wasn't a waste because it was data. And at least I still have that data. And now I know. So with all the failures with with drawing, I'm like, okay, I don't know how to get my hand, how do I get this idea onto the paper? I don't really have data. I'm like, I know this doesn't look the way I want it to look, but I don't know how to make it look the way I want it to look. But with drinks, I get the data, I can process that and go, okay, well, what if I do a little bit more of this? And then that works.
That's super fascinating. I'm hearing that part of the mixology is about kind of the immediate feedback that is this really quick loop, right? Like if you're drawing, you're like, I know this is wrong, but I don't maybe, have a teacher or the experience to say this is how to do it right. With drinks, you can immediately say, this is wrong because of this reason, because it tastes weird, and I want something that tastes different. Is that kind of what I'm hearing, Adam?
That's it, exactly. I'm like, I know this is off. No, I have directions I can go. And like one of my friends, he was at a restaurant and the other day, and he sent me a picture. He was like, oh, here's a drink I'm having. I want to be able to recreate it. I'm like, show me the menu. So I looked at the ingredients. I'm like, I have this. I said, okay, let me see the picture of the drink again. So I, based on the type of drink it was and what's listed on the menu, I mixed it together, but like it didn't have the right kind of balance. I'm like, this is wrong. What am I doing wrong? So I looked at the color of the drink again and figured out, oh, it needs a little bit more of this, and that fixed it right up. Which it's like that's really fun. That's really satisfying for me to like feel that success. So like this is how it should be.
And that's the good creative process that you're doing, Adam. To Rick's point, like it's the back and forth of information and data, and to drive the changes. Okay, do this, do that, do this, do that. Where like if I'm doing a giant mural and I screw it up, there's another 6 hours wasted or 20 hours. You don't want to know how long I spend on stuff. So with these drinks and the creations and everything else and the failures and trials, before we get way too kaiju-y, I'm interested in, with all this data, what has been, if any, have you had any magical surprises like, oh my God, I got to remember that. That's a pure accident. And I want to use that data again.
Yes. Most of my like I'm more the target audience for my drinks. They're like way too sweet for most people. Because most people are like, okay, give me like a bourbon and
They're
a
like
thing.
your wife.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is good that like I have that feedback. So if that's something that she likes as well, I'm like, okay, I've got something. So like friends come over, I'm like, hey, taste this recipe. And they're like, it's good. It's not my favorite thing, but it's good. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. But there was one recipe that I came back to. I was trying to do like a bananas Foster thing. I like taking desserts and kind of figuring out how can I get drunk off of this. And so I've done a key lime pie. I've done like a carrot cake. Those are, I think they're delicious, but it's like entirely liquid. So I came back to this banana thing and I'm like, how do I make it more palatable for a wider, more craft cocktail oriented audience? So I said, okay, because the sweetness to me is like right here, it's in the front, but I know people like subtle. I'm like, okay, so if I tone down all the sweet stuff and then let me add in an ingredient I would never normally use. So I toned that all down and then I added dried vermouth, which is not my favorite thing, but like I know it's used a lot. I mean, my wife has it. So I'm like, stick some in there. It was delicious. And so friends came over and I gave it to them and they're expecting another Adam drink and the change on their face. They're like, this is this is it. Like you've done it. You've done a thing. That was amazing. I'm like, okay, tone down the sweetness, add something, something not me. That's how I make it palatable, I guess.
I don't know. I love the candy bean drinks as I think as much as you might, Adam. But I'd love to hear more about kind of this overarching journey as you are, going back to like you're starting the channel, you're starting to like, pair a toy with a drink. What were some of the major hurdles that you faced in, especially when you were just getting started?
Time management is definitely one of them. Because I know I used to watch, I mean, I used to, I still do. I watch a lot of toy reviews myself, usually. Like, this is a figure I'm never going to be able to afford or have the space for. So I'll just watch a review, live vicariously through someone else. Or I watch a review to know, like, should I buy this thing? But sometimes it's just someone, they sit down in front of their couch and hold up the figure and just monologue about it, which is fine. But I don't get like the specific pieces of information I'm looking for. So I sit down, I write down, okay, what are the questions that I would ask about this figure? And I make sure I put all those pieces of information in there. So I have like a fully scripted thing. It's so much time going into that, into the filming, into the editing, that like one video a week is really all I can handle, unless like I quit my day job. But I couldn't afford to then do what I do. I mean, another thing is space. I've expanded, and then like the table starts to overflow and take over the house. And then I've got like figures on shelves and things, and like the counter is sticky because I have like three different, mixers and a bunch of shot glasses that I'm like, okay, well, what about this? Let me compare these colors. And like I said earlier, my wife, she's been really, really supportive and generous, allowing me to like take time and space to do this. And like if I'm recording when she comes from work, she'll like tiptoe in to not be on, the audio kind of thing. But I'm like, I don't want this to have a negative impact on my marriage. I don't want this to take over the house and have all this become just Adam's boozy playtime. So now I'm figuring out like how do I make a studio in in the garage where I could still have access to lighting and make the audio work. Because I'm not like, a technology person. I'm not the sound engineer and all this stuff. I just do the drinks and the toys. But now like, okay, well now I'm a script writer and I'm an editor and I'm all these things that I did not really think about beforehand that you're gonna have to do to keep all this up. That's kind of a hurdle, is like wearing all those hats, I guess, beyond just the creation of the product.
It's amazing that people are like, oh, Adam he just shoots the thing in his garage, and oh, it'll probably take him like 5 minutes to do it. Oh, I'm like the amount of time and effort a creative process takes. I don't think non-creative people appreciate it in what they do. So I love that you're pointing that out. Besides the experimental side of this whole thing, which I'm now a fan of the show, I'm curious what the other side of what's the biggest joy or the biggest surprise or the biggest positive that you've gotten that you didn't expect out of this?
I know like I shouldn't care about the subscriber count. I'm putting the videos out there. I'm making what I want to make. But watching that grow consistently has been exciting, but like bizarre. Like this is such a weird niche thing. And I mean, it's mostly Godzilla and Jurassic stuff. So it's these specific franchises. And I mean, there are people like, okay, remember Wild Wild West?
One of my favorite shows of all time.
I'm okay, but the critically panned film from '99.
I was working at Warner Brothers when it came out. Yes, I remember it.
Okay,
And as a
so
massive fan of the show,
right?
That movie's amazing. I don't know what you're all talking about.
It's the
I did like
best.
the giant mechanical spider though.
Yes.
Yes.
So I found there was a Burger King toy of the spider, and like I really wanted, a figure of it, but I'm like, this is the best we're gonna get. I don't think any company's gonna touch that ever. But I'm like, I'm making all these things I want to make, and I know there are things that are way more popular, way more successful franchises that people are looking for toy reviews for. But I'm like, I'm gonna do a Burger King kids meal toy and make a Wild Wild West drink. And it actually has views. I mean, it has like nothing by, YouTube standards, but a few hundred people found that interesting enough. Maybe they're searching for it. I don't know. But it's the feedback like that, just numbers of people looking at this weirdo thing that I've made. I'm like, okay, I found my weirdos just like me. There have been a few people who said that like they've tried the drinks and they're excited. But like in 3 years, I've only had like 2 or 3 people actually say they've tried the things. I've seen like one photo. Someone sent me a photo of like the drinks that they made. I'm like, yes, that's kind of what I hope to see more of. And that's been affirming like every so often. Like I see more people say they're excited to try something, but I don't know how it goes. So when people say they're excited to try something or like that sounds good, that's been great because I got a lot of judgment of people like, why that sounds disgusting, when I'm mixing stuff. And I realize, cinnamon and peppermint, yeah, that's fair. But there's been, we see in movies and TV shows and stuff, this idea of like what you should drink, especially, based on your age and your gender kind of stuff. There's ideas about stereotypes about types of drinks, but it's cool seeing so many people gravitate towards my specific flavor of sugary, sweet, fruity kind of stuff, which is pretty affirming.
I love that you are so you, Adam, and that you're doing something that you love and appeals to you. And, to your point, you're like, well, sometimes making things for other people, like with the banana drink, sometimes, is a positive. But I think there's something also to making something that you want to drink and that you enjoy, even if maybe your wife or a lot of your friends are kind of like, oh, I want something more subtle. And you're like, no, flavor to 100, turn it up to 11 type thing. And it seems like that's something that you've always sort of stayed true to through, you know, drawing on tests, even though your teachers don't like it, et cetera, et cetera. And have you given any thought to sort of like what has kept you going, even though it sounds like you're also, while you're getting a lot of positive feedback, you're also getting negative feedback of people being like, don't do it this way, like that's a hard life choice. You're making a mistake here. Like, how are you kind of continuing on with your own unique path, even with all of the detractors?
One thing I've learned to tell myself, I mean, this is more for like when it comes to movies, because I used to, oh, this is a terrible movie. But at one point I realized I'm like, it's not terrible. I'm not the target audience. It's well written, it's well crafted, it's well acted. I don't care for it because it's not for me. So like, the any negative feedback, any stuff that I see out there about like here's how drinks should be. I'm like, here's how drinks should be for you. And I'm not saying everyone needs to like my stuff, but a big thing for drinking for me is drink what you enjoy. Don't feel like you have to have this because that's what the pressure is, or like don't feel like you have to have a Negroni because they're really popular right now. If you don't like Campari, you don't have to drink it. Find something you enjoy and do it. And I'm like, great. If you don't want this, you don't have to have it. If you don't like Midori, great. More bottles for me. Like I'll take them all.
I love that. Like it's something I think there's a book called Mismatch by Kat Holmes, which is really focused on realism and whether or not like when we're designing things for society, we're taking into account just people who are different from ourselves. And it's really kind of taking the stigma away from, oh, this person is blind and making a judgment about how well they can see versus, oh, maybe really tiny font is just a mismatch for people with, deteriorating eyesight versus people who have, 20/20 vision and are really into design aesthetics, right? And so I really like what you're bringing up about this because I think with creativity, it's easy to try to do, to your point, what's hot, right? Making Negroni versus making a kaiju cocktail. But I think really what I'm hearing is you've got it down to the point of who is this really for? And if it's for me, who cares, right? Because I'm happy now because at least I've served one person and they're really excited about it.
Yes, 100%. And it's for me. I'm the audience. I mean, clearly it's not just me, but I'm making absolutely what I want to make and exactly what I want to make. And that's been the biggest thing. Like I still feel some pressure, like it's Wednesday, I gotta come up with something for tomorrow, just because that's a rule I set for myself. And I know that, knowing me and my history with stuff, as soon as I stop, I lose that momentum. Like with painting, I was almost done with the figure. I got to the eyes and I stopped, and weeks could sit here. So I'm like, I'm afraid if I do miss a Thursday, that I'm going to miss another Thursday, and then it's just going to be, oh, I'll come back to it in 6 months kind of thing. So I have put some pressure on myself to do that, but I have so many ideas. Like I probably have enough recipes to last the rest of the year right now. There are things from a couple of years ago that I'm still haven't gotten to yet. But yeah, I mean, keeping that going, just making what I want to make has made that feel less like a job, less like a chore. And it's a fun creative outlet. And I was like, look, if I get enough subscribers to start making money on it, great. If I don't, great. I'm making what I want to make. I'm doing what I want to do. But it turns out like it's working. So slowly but surely, it's getting out there.
I'm very jealous of your last statement because you have found the passion in it, but you have the state job as a teacher, and here's this extracurricular activity that you do for yourself that brings you joy and brings you passion, and you've embraced it. And I can speak for myself and a lot of other my creative friends. We we put this extra pressure on ourselves. And reading into it, what I love to hear about yourself is that okay, it's Wednesday and I got a show. Like you've realized, here's what stops me from being creative. Here's what's I would just like your model, throw it away. And I need to do X in order to have the show on Thursday, right? You've learned about yourself as a creative person, what you have to do to keep yourself motivated and happy going towards it. Is that a fair assessment to say? Sorry, I'm putting
Yeah.
words in mouth, but
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's not like I'm struggling to come up with ideas. It's putting in the work because I know how much time it takes to do, I guess, the necessary stuff, but the unfun stuff. Okay, now I need to sift through an hour and a half of footage. Now I need to, okay, listen to the different takes of the audio. Okay, which one sounds a little bit better? Now I need to, spend the hours doing that. After the drink is done, the script is written, the things that I enjoy the most, that's where it starts. And then now it's all just the
the
busy
mundane,
work.
less
Yeah.
exciting stuff.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I gotta do that.
How are you pulling yourself through it? Because this is fascinating, Adam. This is
I'm afraid that I will lose that momentum if I don't get it up. Now that like there's it's not like people are like checking the clock and like, oh, now it's Friday, he missed it. But knowing that there are eyes on it, not that like anyone would be disappointed or even notice for a while, like, oh, hey, we didn't get one last week. But that kind of acts as like eyes on myself to just keep that going. I'm gonna come up with the word in like 10 minutes from now and be like, oh, it's accountability. Oh, it's accountability. There having that out there, knowing that like there's a thing is helping to keep that accountable.
I totally hear that. And with that accountability coming from an audience now, Adam, how were you thinking about things differently when you just started? And I don't know if you had a previous show that like you funneled into this one, but like, were you starting from zero? And if so, how did you stay accountable to yourself when you didn't have a much larger audience like you do now?
So I did a lot of planning before I started, like figuring out the name. I spent so long coming up with different names and like Googling them to see if that's already, someone's screen name. I didn't want to be like a year in and someone say, hey, you stole my thing. And figuring out exactly what I want, like the format to be, because I wanted it to be at least relatively consistent so that you could go back and watch one of my original videos. Maybe there's a dip in quality, but it should match the stuff that I'm doing now. And I've seen a lot of toy reviewers specifically, they say, I'm going to do this. I have these figures. I have a lot of thoughts about them and they're great, but they don't take off overnight and they lose that steam because they expected this to just take off. And when it doesn't, they stop. And then it's like no video for months because they've just kind of given up. So I'm like, okay, I know if I'm going to do it, I want it to be something that I want to do, whether or not it takes off. I want to be consistent. I want to enjoy what I'm doing and make sure that I can continue to enjoy what I'm doing. Because I don't want to even start it if it's something that I'm hesitant about. One of the original ideas was just to drink and talk about toys, which would have been so much easier. I don't have to edit. I can just sit there, and there is an entertainment value in like having people try to do something with fewer faculties. Like, we'll blindfold someone, spin them around. Okay, now try to hit a pinata or pin the tail on a donkey. Or like games where you like tie up your thumbs and you try to like draw something. So there's all these things where someone's like inhibited trying to do a thing. So I'm like, well, maybe if I take a couple shots and try to turn Optimus Prime into a truck, maybe people watch that. But I'm like, that doesn't really sound sustainable or all that fun. It'll be fun for something or two. But I'm like, no, it's the cocktails. That's where I want it to be. So I did spend quite some time writing that multi-page documents of like, okay, well, speaking of sustainability, how many drinks can I have over the course of my lifetime before like my liver gives out or something? Like I can't do this forever. So plans to like, okay, what can I turn this into? Can I bring more people in? How can this continue to go to have people continuing to create long after I'm no longer doing it? So I do have some like end plans. I mean, I'm only a few years in. This is way off, but like working on all those kind of things before I really dive in. And luckily, all that planning stuff didn't cost me any money. It was just ideas on paper. So that definitely helped. Yeah.
You're making me giggle again. Tangents. It's Chris. There used to be a show on Food Network called Man vs. Food, and it only lasted 2 seasons, I think, because the guy, it was eating contests, and he ended up sick and almost dead, hospital. And the show then they went, okay, I'm going to a new town, and Bob's going to do it for me now. Like, no one planned it out that this guy can't do the show forever. In fact, he can only really do one season.
Yeah, I can't do this forever. But like thinking about like one thing I would love to do is more mocktails.
This is
But
what I was going to ask you. Where do you think is go?
my mocktails have been disgusting. Like I've tried to turn some of my recipes into mocktails because I have friends who don't drink, and I'm like I would like them to try these flavors. They've been wanting to try stuff. For some reason, I'm like it's too watery or it's too syrupy or just tastes bad and wrong, and I don't know how to fix it the same way I do with the alcohol. I mean, it's not just I've given up caring about the look of the mocktails. It's more just like let me figure out the flavor first because I know how the different, not all the kinds of alcohol, but like different kinds of alcohol, I know how they play together and work together. But everything else, just a juice or a syrup or a smoothie, and it doesn't have like that it factor that I've had with like mocktails that I've tried out and about. And there's something that sets a mocktail apart from just like here's a fruit smoothie. That is a plan. It's just don't know how I'm going to get there, except just throwing stuff in and then seeing what works.
And I think that's even if you are just throwing stuff in there and seeing what's worked, I think that's what you've done so far to get you where you are now. So I can't imagine that that's going to be, you know, a totally unsuccessful venture down the line. Just might take some time, right? Because it's new flavor profiles, new ways things mix together, all of that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a new arena, and like you said, it's just going to take some time. And luckily, those ingredients cost less than like bottles of alcohol. So even if I throw stuff out and waste stuff, it's not a waste because again, data collection. Oh, that's another thing I was going to say earlier is even if I mix a drink and it's not good or not quite what I want, you can still drink it, still get a good buzz going, you can still have a fun time with it. So it's total loss. We used to have, we call it a fuck it. So it was all the failed attempts we just put in like one big bottle, just like pour a glass of that every so often. But enough failures mixing together make something that's not too bad actually. It
Okay,
all
when
just
I was school in Michigan, we used to take, I forget what we used to call it, but it was just, they would take a garbage can and you would just throw shit into it. And Kool-Aid, always had to have Kool-Aid in it.
wait.
And it would taste good. So I follow you on the fuck it bucket.
Like, right, yeah, the fucked up bucket. That's Kool-Aid. That's another thing that like I also, I watch other people's like cocktail videos and things, and I don't want to do something that someone else has done, or if I do, I say like this is my take on this, or I was inspired by this. So I usually like look up recipes after I come up with something, I'll look it up and see if that's already a thing, Or if I've come up with a name for something, I'll look it up and say like, oh, that's already a name for something completely different. But I discovered I did not invent the Paloma. That's a thing. I'm like, oh, these flavors would work. I wonder if that's a thing. Yeah, it's a Paloma. I don't know how I didn't know that. Well, oh yeah, Kool-Aid. That's where I was going. So I was trying to come up with, I don't know if you've seen Gamera versus Baragon.
You want to see the toy in the corner? Yes.
Yes, yes, I do. That was my first kaiju movie ever. Because
Oh, I was going to ask you what the first kaiju was. That's
yes,
it.
it was Gamera versus Baragon because crocodiles, and then from there went turtles. And my mom,
Yeah.
she found a movie. It's like, oh, it's a crocodile fighting a turtle. Adam will like this. Yes, correct. But in that movie, Baragon emits this like rainbow beam from his back. It also has this like icy breath. So I'm like, I'm doing a Baragon drink. It's gonna be rainbow. I usually start with like a visual. I picture how I want it to look, and then I figure out what to put in it from there. So I pictured this like tall, skinny drink with like the level layers of like the rainbow going out. And my original idea was like, oh, what if I make Kool-Aid ice cubes? So I've seen some of that before, but it's always been the same kind of Kool-Aid, but this would be all different colors. So you do that, it turns brown because Kool-Aid, any sugary thing you mix, like freeze as an ice cube, it's going to be like the density of like hard packed snow. So it's going to immediately just start melting and dissolving into the drink. So I spent a year. I mean, not like every day, but like coming back to it every couple of weeks, like, okay, what if I try this? To finally figure out small ice cubes with food coloring, frozen, because as water freezes in an ice cube tray, it freezes from the top down. So all those impurities are pushed to the bottom. So a lot of the food coloring sits on the bottom. So if you make a food colored ice cube, take it off, you can just rub the food coloring off the bottom. So if I take that, put it on another partially formed ice cube, freeze that in there, then you have the color trapped inside the cube, and you can put those in layers, fill a drink, and see the colored layers. So it was the whole science project just for the ice. I haven't even made any part of the cocktail itself yet, but I figured out how to get that ice going. But that was super fun. And with a lot of the things, even if I don't put it up on the channel, I could stop and still enjoy the making of the stuff. I mean, I enjoy putting it up and getting positive feedback from stuff and having people liking what I do, but that's been a big thing. Is having fun making this stuff for me, but then also having a platform to spread it.
It's awesome. I just need to go and binge watch all of your videos because I need to see all of the mad chemistry going on here. Adam, like, what would you, whether it's a younger you just starting out building this channel or a aspiring creator who is looking to get into video making and broadcasting, what kind of advice would you give that person?
Put the time into it. Be proud of the product you're putting out. Your journey is your journey, but for me, if I'm going to be watching a thing, I want it to be of a certain quality, of a certain thought put into it, and I can feel that if you just sat down and threw something together because you think that's what it should be. But if you really want to make a thing, make that thing. Take the time to make it well and make it the way you want to make it and be proud of the finished product. Even if you need another day to tweak something, if you need to go back and re-record, do it. Because if you're putting it on the internet, if it's going to be out there forever, you don't want to watch it and look back and go, oh, I should have, why did I do that? Why did I not spend the 5 minutes to just change the lighting for the whatever? I don't know. I mean, I think as we grow, we're naturally going to feel that. We're always going to look back at our older stuff and be like, oh, that's what I thought was good. But if you at the time really feel like this is good, I'm satisfied with what this is, then I think you're good.
I don't know about you, Rick, but I wish Adam was my teacher growing up. Like, that's truly beautiful to say.
Thank you.
I gotta ask before we run out of time, and I don't want to run out of time before you and I get nerdy, because I need to get nerdy on this podcast with you, especially with a man wearing G-Force. Okay. As a movie nerd, everyone has the movie that they're ashamed to admit they like. We just found out Rick's is Wild Wild West. Mine is, we've done it on the podcast before, is King Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, or Ebirah, is my favorite Godzilla movie because it was originally written for King Kong and they didn't change. Yes, yes. See, Adam, but people don't know that, right? And they're like, the movie sucks. No, it doesn't. So what's yours? I'd love to hear what yours is.
I've got
A few.
two. I've
Good.
got a few. Godzilla Final Wars. It's so
Fucking
big,
fantastic.
so dumb, so awesome. I
Oh,
could
over
watch
the
it all
top.
day, every day.
Yes.
Over the top, bananas. But also Hook. I love Hook. According to my mom, I wore out a VHS of it when I was a kid. I would just, because I only cared about the crocodile clock part at the end. And she said, "Can we fast forward to that?" And I said, "No, I want to watch the whole thing to get to that point." I know like people rip on it, but I'm like, no, this is good.
Okay. All right. Now that's the one you're ashamed of. What's your favorite one?
Jurassic Park.
And why?
It is aged so well. Every year I watch it, and every year I get something new out of it relating to different characters as I'm in different stages of my life and picking up on more things in the dialogue. And it's so good. I love Michael Crichton. Just like anything he does, I'm in. I'm there. The music, the dinosaurs, it's so good. With Jurassic, I feel more pressure on myself because so many people take Jurassic Park so seriously. I'm like, okay, if I'm doing a Jurassic drink, like I want it to be like good. Not okay, I want everything to be good. But I feel like with Godzilla,
There's an extra
I can
special
do
when you make a Jurassic Park
extra
drink.
special, right? Like with Godzilla things, I can do sillier things and it still like, okay, I have a Final Wars drink. At the beginning of Final Wars, Godzilla's frozen in the ice. So I got this little Godzilla figure and a big ice cube tray and froze Godzilla in it and made a drink with Godzilla frozen in the ice. I showed it to Don Fry at G-Fest. That's the Godzilla. I took it off the earth
Yeah.
and froze that in the ice cube.
When you were talking about, I knew that's for everyone listening. Chris has the toy. Yeah, that came at the movie theater. You took this off and made it.
Took it off, froze it. I mean, I cleaned it, but like, yeah, tiny little Godzilla frozen in the ice. I mean, it's not tiny that like you're gonna swallow it.
And you met Dan Fry?
I mean, yeah, he comes to G-Fest in Chicago, the Godzilla convention.
I love G-Fest.
Yes.
Sorry, Rick.
And, yeah, no. And I showed it to him. He's like, "Oh, that's a great idea. I'm gonna steal that." I'm like, "Yes, please, please do." That's a life goal, is to like share a drink with Don Fry, grab a whiskey.
It's a good goal. It's a good goal. Yeah. Adam, this has been super fun. And even though I know Chris wants this to go on forever, I'm going to have to start bringing us in for a landing. But where can people find you, Adam, and your YouTube channel?
YouTube.com/Thirsty Thursday Toys. It's really long to type out. I apologize. I did not think about that like when I set that all up. And now I'm like having to enter my email in at Thirsty Thursday. Okay, no, not Thirsty. Thirsty Thursday Toys. YouTube.com/Thirsty Thursday Toys. That's where all the recipes and reviews are. I'm also on Instagram. If you like, I just want to see a picture of it, I don't want to watch a whole thing, I don't blame you. Photos are on Instagram again at Thirsty Thursday Toys, all spelled out, all one word. And that's more like the main social media, how to get in contact with me kind of thing. Or just thirstythursdaytoys@gmail.com if you got questions. Or like you'll find me running around at one of the conventions.
Me at G-Fest this year.
Yeah. Yes.
Anything you'd like to say to us on the way out?
Please drink responsibly. As much as I am, I guess, pushing drinks by showing all these tasty, fun-looking things, but enjoy what you're drinking. Don't feel pressured to drink. Learn about what you're putting in your body and how it affects you. Please be smart. Please be safe, and enjoy it.
Thank you for joining Rick and myself on another episode of Origins: A Creative Journey, a Designer Con production. Please like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, download and listen to us every place you get your favorite podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Origins: A Creative Journey, all one word. Drop us an email for thoughts, ideas, or maybe somebody you'd like us to interview at dconpodcast@gmail.com. And make sure you join us in Las Vegas for DesignerCon, North America's premier annual design convention. All the information can be found, including tickets, at designercon.com. Till then, enjoy your own creative journey.